Welcome to Move Nation, bringing you everything you need to know about commercial and industrial moving. This is Karen, and here today with me we have Jason. He is the founder of Unio Tech Solutions. It's the #1 secure IT relocation company, and he'll tell you a bit more about that. But right now today we're going to talk about the impact on your move and COVID. So Jason, welcome to our show.
Hi, Karen. It's lovely being here today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I know you're not like a typical podcaster, but you're going to give us the inside scoop on what's happening. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. So people, I think they're thinking about moving offices because there's been a bit of a delay, I would say, or is that true?
Absolutely. There's delays in construction, delays in getting back to the office. So there's lots of movement out there.
So Jason, have you been busy during COVID? Like have people delayed their moves or what's been your experience?
So at the beginning of COVID, when things shut down, we were shut down for the first 2 months, and then we got really busy. Construction started coming back, and people started moving again. So we've been super busy up until now.
Well, on my end, I've noticed that a lot of people are starting to go back to the office now, and there's still some very large office towers that are considering phasing in employees. But I was thinking about in your industry, uh, do you have an opportunity to go in while people still aren't in the office and relocate technology?
Yes, we're doing that quite a lot. Also, uh, so before we get there, the users need to come in and pack up their personal items before the move can happen. So some companies the employees are still nervous to come in, so they hire the movers or us to pack up the personal items of that workstation before the move happens.
Now, your company specializes in technology. So you pack up the personal tech mostly of the employees if they're not doing it themselves?
No, we always do the personal tech.
Oh, okay. So what's changed for you? Like what else are you doing?
So, packing up the actual workstations, uh, sometimes we are wiping down the workstation, the technology of the workstation when we're done the move.
Okay. So why don't we talk a little bit? Well, I have a lot to talk about with you, but first of all, when you mean users, you mean the employees of the company, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so if they had a plan to move, maybe if the company's had a plan to move 6 months ago and now it's coming close to that time, they're saying, what do? We can't bring the employees in here anymore. So now what? So they're hiring people like you or you.
That is correct. So, one particular job we're working on right now, some of the users are coming in to pack up their items, and we have a team that are packing up the workstations that the users don't want to come in. So that's happening. That's happened 2 weeks prior to the move. And then next week, once everything is packed, the actual move will take place.
Okay. And let's say in the old days, pre-COVID, the employee would normally pack up their personal things and then you guys wouldn't touch the personal stuff really. You'd just,
That is correct. So typically, let's say, for example, on a Friday afternoon, the office would shut down at 3 o'clock. We would come in, everything would be packed up into bins, and we would then start the move. So we would shut down the technology, pack it up, then the moving company comes in, moves everything, either an internal move or an external move to another building. Then everything is placed, we set it up again. Then on the Monday morning, the company can come back to work and everything is ready for them to go. So you can sit down at your workstation and it's ready for you. You just need to unpack your personal items and you're good to go.
that's cool. So Jason, normally you're known for doing large scale moves. So like up to 600 or 800 workstations in a weekend, or does it take longer for those?
No, that's correct. We do that in a weekend.
That's unbelievable. And you mentioned that last year your average size move was.
About 200 workstations per move.
So if employees can't go back in and do what they used to do, which is um, kind of like get ready for the movers to come in or even your crew to come in, it means that all that kind of like unfinished business is falling on the move managers at this point in time, or at least whoever's scheduling the move internally.
That's correct.
They're kind of stuck with it.
Yes.
So is that why they're contacting you to do something, let's say, more full service than you would have done before, like you're starting earlier in the process?
Absolutely. They are reaching out to their move vendors and to their IT vendors to find out what else we can do to make the move easier for them.
Wow. Okay, and I also heard that because of the restrictions, fewer people are allowed in an elevator, which obviously impacts how much staff you can, put on a move.
That's correct. Yesterday we were on a move and we were allowed one person per elevator.
One person per
One.
elevator. Now, I
So
have
typically I see three, but this particular office was one.
Okay. Now, so if I'm looking just on the outside, that's got to slow things down or at least take more days to complete. Is that correct?
That is correct. So on a 200-person move, that could take 2 days, whereas before it could take 1 day.
Okay, so it's not the size of your crews, it's the COVID regulations.
That's correct.
And is it the individual building that's setting those standards or the employer that's setting the standards?
The employer and the building.
All right. So I guess whoever is doing moves right now has to prepare that it's going to take longer because you cannot get around in the buildings as fast. Is that correct?
That's correct. Also, another thing we've seen is we have to sign in and do a COVID screening with the building, and then we got to go in and do the same thing with the client. So we're doing it twice. So when we go to move and it's scheduled for like 5 o'clock in the evening, we need to be there half an hour to 45 minutes before to get everyone signed in and prepped and ready for the move.
Okay, well, speaking as let's say a former CEO, I think that would add a lot to the cost, but I guess what's the cost impact? You have, it's kind of like wasted man hours in a way.
Yes, it is, but we're not charging the client for that.
So
We're
you're
just
taking
doing
the
it.
hit right now.
That's correct.
Okay, because on huge moves like that would impact if you charge them. If all the vendors charge them that extra time it took, that would basically blow the budget right there.
That's correct. So we're trying to help companies, not destroy them.
So Jason, you don't mind going in. Your Unio Tech's team doesn't mind going into office buildings right now. You basically take the necessary precautions, and you're comfortable to work in those environments.
That is correct.
So, Jason, for Unio Tech, do you get the requirements of your clients on COVID? Is that what you're following, generally speaking, or like what's your role in this, and what's the client's role in this?
Yes, that's correct. So prior to the job, the client is sending us the building's requirements and their requirements. Sometimes it's just their requirements, but we're typically everywhere it's masks, occasionally gloves, and then hand sanitizing. Some buildings are still taking temperatures.
Okay, yes, I have seen that also. And what do you do as your standard policy if they don't give you their own regulations?
Definitely masks, gloves for those who choose it, and then hand sanitizer. And definitely the social distancing.
Yes. Okay, and I also know that you do something quite special, which is tech cleaning. So you basically will say, this is my words, kill bacteria and germs on the actual pieces of technology. So, and I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly, but what is the service that you offer, which is probably more important now?
So we do a wipe down of the technology with something that is approved by Health Canada, and which then in effect kills germs and bacteria on the equipment.
Okay, and then you do the other stuff like get rid of like the icky stuff in keyboards by blowing it out, the stuff that we normally would expect, but
Yes, we do blow out keyboards. It's not fun, that one, but we do it.
It's not fun. There's something satisfying about a good clean. So
Yep.
you kill the germs and bacteria if they want that service.
That is correct.
Okay. So it's mostly, yeah, I think before it was kind of a luxury, and now people might think it's a necessity.
Yes.
Yeah,
Definitely.
especially from an employee point of view. But anyway, budget is budget. So let's see what people decide. Okay. So talk about what's happening, what businesses are doing right now. You're talking about hoteling stations. What is
Yes.
a hoteling station?
It's a workstation that is shared by multiple people. So if you're working from home and you have to come into the office, you can go to a hoteling station, which companies have now taken away phones, keyboards, and mice.
Wow.
So there's
So
no more
they
sharing
are,
of that equipment.
and that used to be like until very, very recently, a trend in offices to have shared workspaces. Is that
A
correct?
huge trend.
Wow. Is it going to be a reversal of that trend, or is it just short term right now? What do you see?
Right now, it's hard to tell, but it really depends on what happens with COVID. If you're going to a hoteling station, you would bring your own keyboard and mouse.
Right.
And then they have wipes and sanitizer at almost every station, so you can wipe down your station before you start working.
Okay. Now I've noticed that, with everything there's a good side and a bad side. So the good side right now is that the offices are generally speaking quite empty. So
That's correct.
if businesses are going to move, now would be a great time. Otherwise, it's the mad rush and you late nights. You start on a Friday and then work through the weekend, or even, I guess you move on other days too. But I know everybody would love. The ideal would be a Friday.
Yes. So we're actually seeing a lot of times we're starting now during the day opposed to evenings, but there's still the limitation of when you can use elevators in the larger buildings.
That's right.
If there's no constraints for the elevators, companies are moving during the day.
So there's the upside, because otherwise the move managers would have to stay quite late at night.
Yes. So that'd be nights and weekends.
Okay, sounds good. You might get used to it. Well, thank you for your insights today, Jason. So where can we find out more information about you and your company?
So you can find out more about Unio Tech at uniotechsolutions.com and give us a call. We're happy to chat with you.
Okay, so that's UNIOTECH solutions.com. And thank you very much. This has been Karen of Move Nation. Join us next time where we find out more information about the commercial and industrial moving industry. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Karen. Thank you for having me today.